Alright guys, so J. Cole and his team are leaving breadcrumbs everywhere about the direction of the fall off, and it starts with that video he dropped in reverse, track 2 disc 2. Because this wasn't a random loose record, it does appear to be slated for the album.
Hearing the chirps and naysayers who only days later I don't care to convert.
To me, this track is really important to pretty much everything. I've been working on a full scene-by-scene breakdown of that video for the last 7 days now, and I promise it's very layered with a lot of context, so stay tuned for that. But before we even get there, why this was the first record that he released is the real clue. And once you catch it, you understand what Cole is really trying to tell us about the fall off. First off, the opening statement of this music video really spells it out for us. Cole is saying that he wants to do what he was unable to do on his first album. Now, if you're familiar with Cole's career, you'll know that the Sideline Story wasn't exactly the debut album that he wanted. His intention since a small boy was to come out the gate with an undisputed classic like an Illmatic or a Reasonable Doubt.
The only thing I ever wanted out of the game, which I still wanted, but the main thing I knew I wanted was like an Illmatic. Like I knew I wanted to come out the gate with a fucking hands down classic. I wanted my first album to be a hands down classic.
And more recently, remember, this is what he said about Reasonable Doubt.
It's the fall off is like Hov dropping Reasonable Doubt last.
But unfortunately, Cole's plan for an out-the-gate classic didn't happen with the Sideline Story. Many of us enjoyed the project, but for him, it was one of the darkest periods of his career. Cole was being pulled in a million different directions, and Jay-Z's constant push for a hit record got super ugly. It got to the point where he was second-guessing everything that he was doing creatively.
When I'm making a beat, I have to ask myself, is this a hit kick drum? Is this a hit snare drum? Nah, this probably not a hit kick drum. This is probably not a hit snare. Nah, this hi-hat ain't, this don't sound like no hit hi-hat. And then even down to writing the bars. It's like, is this something that's like a hit? And mind you, it's like, could I see this like on the radio, or could I see this like over here on this, in this?
Looking back, a lot of Jay-Z's advice couldn't have been more wrong. Today, we all know Cole as an artist that created some of his best music through himself and his own production, but during that era, Hov told him that he didn't think Cole had it in him to produce his own records and that he needed help.
I don't understand why you're so intent on like making it yourself. You know what I mean? Like, why do you feel like you gotta like produce? Help me understand. I was just like, bro, like honestly, that's just not how I work. That's not how I see myself. His response to that was, he looked right at me and he was like, yo, I don't think you can do it. Like, I think you need someone that can produce this for you. You know what I mean? That can do it. I think you need a producer. And like, he's like, I don't think you can do it.
And this isn't even the fault Hov. I believe he was trying to apply a format that worked for him and many others to an artist that was clearly different. A lot of people already know that Cole really struggled to find that first hit record, but I don't think they realized just how bad this got. Remember, he dropped the Inevitable podcast, and those 10 episodes really explains this a lot. Like, you gotta watch it.
I wanted my first album to be the heralded
Reasonable Doubt,
Illmatic, because that's how I thought it was supposed to go.
Not having that undisputed classic out the gate really wore on J. Cole. He didn't get to make the album that he always dreamed of because as a creator, one of the worst things you could ever do is force art. The moment where you find yourself thinking about what other people want or trying to cater to a certain crowd, that's one of the slipperiest slopes you could go down as a creator, and that's exactly what J. Cole was doing.
Incest cause she wanna marry daddy. Now if you take me home, girl, that's gonna make your parents happy.
That was supposed to be the main single for the Sideline Story because Hov loved it, and Cole told him this.
And it's me, Mark, and Jay in the office. And I said, yo, bro. I was like, I can't do this, dog. Like, I can't put this song out. I was like, I'm gonna tell you the truth, bro. I was like, when I listen to this song, this shit is mastered, and I realize bro, I get sick. Like, I literally feel like a sellout. Like, that's what I feel like.
And this is a really early example of a trait that J. Cole has that makes him so special. He's quite literally one of the most self-aware rappers of all time, and that's because he's mastered the art of self-correction. This is another topic that I'm going to be exploring in a future video. With Sideline Story and even Born Sinner, he realized eventually he wasn't being who he was, right? And he fixed it. When J. Cole made 2014 Forest Hills Drive, he had a series of rules that he set in place. He called them contracts, basically rules that he couldn't break. And one of those rules was to never make art that you don't actually love. And this is really important because he didn't get to apply that logic to his first couple albums. If you've seen Pharrell's Lego movie, the one where he's walking you through his life, you'll recognize this pattern immediately. At one point, Pharrell turned into the industry's go-to guy for hits. If an artist needed a big record, you sent them to Pharrell. And that sounds like a dream until it isn't, because the exact same thing became a trap. The same trap millions of creators fall into. When the world starts rewarding you for one thing, you stop making art for the reason that you started, and you start making it for approval, the numbers, and the expectations. That's why in Cole's Disc 2 Track 2 video, that room with all the items keeps showing up over and over again. That's because that room isn't just a set, that room is the source. It represents where Cole started, and more importantly, why he started. It's the exact same thing Pharrell had to do, and honestly the same thing that I'm doing in 2026, because at a particular point, I completely lost myself on this channel. The Drake and Kendrick battle completely destroyed my confidence and creativity. I went from someone that would say, this video is a banger, I'm proud of it, I put everything into it, to I don't think this will work, I don't think they'll like this, I think this idea is stupid. Rick Rubin's got an amazing book called The Creative Act, and it talks about all this stuff.
It's something I say in the book is that the audience comes last. I'm not making it for them. I'm making it for me. Turns out that when you make something truly for yourself, you're doing the best thing you possibly can for the audience. If you go to the movies, so many big movies just not good. It's because they're not being made by a person who cares about it. They're being made by people who are trying to make something that they think someone else is going to like. And that's not how art works. That's something else. It's not art. That's commerce.
Look, it's not a coincidence that at 36 years old, we watched J. Cole fulfill a childhood hoop dream and play professional ball. He didn't do that because he thought he was going to the NBA. He didn't do it to be the best player on the court. He did it for him. And that's the thorough line with Cole, because he keeps showing up as the guy who chooses Jermaine. That's why in the video he signs the wall as Jermaine was here instead of J. Cole, because if we're being honest, that's the person he's given us. Whether it's telling Jay-Z at a young age, I can't do that record, or checking off a hoop dream in his mid-30s, or realizing he needs to make the art that he actually loves, or even doing something like apologizing in the battle, those aren't industry moves or rapper moves, those are human moves. And people could say whatever they want about this, like for me, I respect it. In my last video, I said I felt he would drop a mixtape called It's a Boy before we got the fall off, and today Jadakiss seemed to confirm that that is happening.
He got project coming out called The Fall Off, and he got a mixtape where he used some of the locks. He rhymed over Money, Power, Respect, and he rhymed over Can I Live. Killed them shit. Cole is coming back in a major way.
So just think about this, right? He's gonna be going in on classic instrumentals from other rappers. He's literally rewinding. He's going back in time. The tape will be called It's a Boy because back in the day, that's what mixtapes were for us. In fact, J. Cole even said that if it wasn't for Drake and how he approached So Far Gone, he would have just put a tape out rapping over instrumentals.
The one was gonna be all freestyles, like Dedication, like Lil Wayne Dedication, which I loved. I was like, oh, I'm gonna just kill all these freestyles. But what happened was, the minute Drake dropped So Far Gone, the game instantly changed.
And this is a big part of the theme, because like back then he felt like, if I don't do what Drake is doing and like where the industry is going, it's not gonna work. Like I gotta change my plans, which is like really the opposite, complete opposite of who he is now. It feels like J. Cole is going back to fulfill the version of his story that got interrupted by pressure, deadlines, and the hit Obsession. The one thing that Cole eventually learned is that he's most fulfilled and makes the best art when he does what he wants to do. It's almost like the fall off is all those moments where people told him, you can't put out just a rapidy rap album, you'll be cooked. You'll fall off, you need a single. The Drake mixtape method is the new way of the industry. Everyone's following this format now. This is how you find success. However, now it's completely different for him because he understands the power of doing what you want to do and doing what you love to do. So it seems he's going back in time to do those things over and in the way that he had always intended. One more piece of info I will give you from my upcoming video is this. There are a few clocks shown in that music video and they all move except for the clock on his desk. That clock always stays on the exact same time. It's as if time is frozen while he's in that room. And with that said, I'll leave it with this.
Which is exactly what I want. I wanted that shit to stop time. You know what I mean? Like, and the nigga just ran out of gas and didn't really have it. Like, just ran out of steam.
Bitch, I'm about to blow up.